In 2017, a vast amount of gold was discovered in Kenya. In fact, the hill where the gold was discovered is literally called Kilima Pesa, which means a mountain of money. And it's estimated that there are over 8.7 million tons of gold ore that can be mined in that gold mine. It's a very high-grade vein that has the gold. And now this was discovered in Kenya. And most people in Kenya are not even aware of this. And there was a gold rush, an immediate gold rush. And as you can very well imagine, the entire gold rush involved foreigners. And so the mining licenses were immediately given to Europeans and Chinese. So all that gold right now that is getting mined at that gold mine belongs and is the property of Europeans and Chinese. Yet Africans are seated in the slum in such poverty that you cannot believe. Sometimes you even wonder, what God thinks. Because just think, you are given gold by God as a God-given resource, and the African man immediately turns around and gives that gold to his worst enemy, to the people who dislike him and hate him the most. How do you explain that? How can such a poor country like Kenya forfeit 8.7 million tons of gold ore that is not even being smelted in Kenya? They are taking it out as ore. No production facilities whatsoever in Kenya. They are literally leaving holes in the ground. Yet Kenya does not have any gold reserves. Kenya lacks gold reserves. If you go to the Central Bank of Kenya and you open up their vault, there are no gold reserves, not even a single kilo. Yet there are 8.7 million tons of mineable gold ore at this particular mine. There are other mines in Kenya, but we're talking about this single mine. How does a country that doesn't have a single kilo in gold reserves forfeit 8.7 million tons of gold ore? How do you explain this behavior by Kenyan men? Forfeiting all this gold in a country that doesn't have any gold reserves, in a country where more than half the population lives in slums and in extreme and horrific poverty. How do you explain that? How can you explain that? What is in the minds of the Kenyan man? Because it has to be a mental illness. Who forfeits gold? Who gives up gold without a fight? If you discovered gold in your house right now, would you guard it or would you give it up? Would you hide it or would you go to broadcast to everyone? Would you seek to profit from it or would you hand it over to your neighbor? So what kind of people give up gold without a fight? No one robbed Kenya of that gold. No one took guns and took the gold by force. The Kenyan man willingly forfeits his most valuable resources without a fight. How do you explain that? The explanation is always the same. The Kenyan man, like other African men, worships statues and pictures of Europeans as God. And so anything they discover, they immediately hand it over to their gods. Ultimately, this is the mental illness that our people are suffering from, which is why the country can never grow wealthy. Like we always say, living in Kenya is living in a simulated reality. All reality is a mental experience. And in this simulated reality, the foreigner is always above and the Kenyan is always below. And everything in Kenya belongs to the foreigner. The Kenyan person only exists to serve the foreigner. within this mental construct, which is why the men of Kenya are not willing to fight for gold. They are more than willing to hand over any valuable thing they discover in their territory to foreigners. Nothing is too sacred. They keep nothing for themselves, nothing at all. Everything belongs to the foreigner. So the foreigners have the best land in Kericho. They have the biggest companies in Kenya, the biggest businesses in Kenya, and now all the gold mines. There isn't a single gold mine that isn't owned by foreigners. And you discovered even the other time, you remember that story of the government handing over the gold mine that was in a village somewhere, and the people attacked the foreigners in order to recover that gold mine. Remember that story? It is the government selling us out, never ever preserving anything for its people, because the government, like we always say, and the elites of Kenya exist to serve foreign interests. They don't exist to serve us. Everything they do is to the benefit of foreigners, never to the benefit of the local people. So it's time for local people, ordinary Kenyans, you need to stand up. How can 8.7 million tons of gold ore be handed to foreigners? And half of you live in slums, and you say nothing. That's the part I don't understand. Why do you say nothing? You don't even protest. Why? That's a lot of money that the coconut elite has given to its foreign masters. That's a lot of money. Why would you not say anything? You're the one who's living inside a slum with no food, no school fees. Very, very hard life, a difficult, painful life. Why would you not say anything when you see your gold being taken away? Gold! Gold is better than money, in case you didn't know. You're better off having gold than pieces of paper. Gold doesn't rot, never loses value. It has been valuable for at least 10,000 years. It's not about to lose value. It's more important than money. It's the ultimate money. Why would you not say anything? Why would you not protest? Why would you not fight for it? How can you just allow our sellout elite to hand over everything to foreigners? And when you look at this picture, you can see, look at all the African men in this picture, showing their foreign master all the secrets of the land, explaining to him where the best gold is. All these are African men, very proud to hand over everything to the foreigner. How do you explain this? How does it not occur to them that they should be the owners of that gold, which God left them? Can you explain that to me? Look at all these African men standing around smiling to the enemy, giving up everything. Everything. Did you know that England has some of the highest or largest gold reserves? Do you know that England does not have a single gold mine? That 99% of that gold is African gold, given up willingly by African men. How do you explain that? Look at all these men. Look at all of them. They are the ones who are digging up the gold and handing it over to the foreigner. How do you explain that? All these men cooperating to keep themselves poor. How do they explain it to their own brains that I'm digging up this gold so that I can hand it over to foreigners? Yet half of the population, even more than half of the population, is extremely poor. And now the government announced the other day that over 1 million people are at risk of starving to death in 2021. over 1 million people are running the risk of starving to death because they are so poor that they cannot afford food. Yet, God has provided 8.7 million tons of gold ore that is being handed to foreigners. How do you explain the mind of the Kenyan man? How do you explain it? Is it a function of education? Well, all these people are highly educated, the ones who are digging up the gold. How do you explain it? Is it a function of intelligence? What do you think is the average IQ of the people handing over the gold while they themselves starve to death? How do you explain this phenomenon of grown men handing over all their valuable resources to foreigners? And as you very well know, we do have a national army which is supposed to defend Kenya, presumably. Like, that's what they said their job is. So what kind of defense do they have if the gold is going back outside the country? How can you say you're defending a house from getting robbed, yet everything has already been robbed? The TV is gone, the seats are gone, everything is gone. But you're at the gate defending the house from what? The most valuable things have already gone. So how can it be all these national institutions bow down to the foreigner? That the foreigner can literally walk into Kenya, take the gold, have the Africans dig up the gold. Yeah, you do the dirty work. Hand over the gold to the foreigner, and the foreigner walks away with the gold. All these national institutions, no one says anything. It is perfectly okay. What could be inside the brains of Kenyan men? What level of effeminization is this, that you give up gold without a fight? This is the tragedy of Kenya in 2021.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and comment below. Kenya's time has come. Our time has come. Your time has come. A time to succeed and not fail. A time to grow wealth and not poverty. A time to go up and not down. It's time for you to stop walking and drive your car. Stop renting and buy yourself a house. It's your time to get blessed. Join the CCV movement, and together let us keep poverty and unemployment out of Kenya. Become a member today. Donate what you can. And remember that the CCV is the only political organization in Kenya that is squarely built upon Christian values, unlike the rest. We'll see you next time. Thank you.